Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with me for a few minutes. Happy Saturday. Happy cleaning day. Over here in the Central Business District, we have a tradition called Cleaning Day. It used to be every last Saturday of every month. It's since changed. Now it's every Saturday. The idea is that every shop, every business owner, every entity within the CBD, the Central Business District, must participate in a cleaning exercise. And that's all good and dandy, but the truth is, our people don't sustain it. We will clean for an hour. You come back in 2 hours, it would be as if they hadn't cleaned. That's a difficulty we face. But anyway, happy cleaning day. Eventually, I think we'll get it. We'll get the concept. Let me do a couple of shout outs to you guys out there. Volume is low. Is it really? Come in. Testing 1, 2. Guys, tell me, is the volume low? Really, volume is not clear. Okay, let me just fix this. Just give me a moment, guys. Okay, microphone. Is that? Testing 1, 2. No. Goodness. Now I'm here. Grappling. Broadcaster. Pro mic. Testing 1, 2. Oh dear, I think I've done something. 2. 1, 2 testing. Tell me, guys. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. I really thought I'd sorted that out. Please tell me now in the comments below if this is clear. It's okay now. For the life of me, I don't know what happened there. You know how sometimes you jump on and you are loud and clear now. Thank you, George Chabs. About a month and a half ago, I got this brand new gadget. It's called the Rodecaster Pro. It's brilliant. I think every vlogger should have it. In America and in Britain and in different parts of Europe, every single vlogger, every single social media personality has this thing called the Rodecaster Pro. I'm still learning the ropes. You know, I haven't sussed it out, but so sometimes I make mistakes while I'm on it. Anyway, but you say it's clear. We can get you now. Clement says that. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bless you. Okay. Very quickly, I just wanted to talk to you about something that it's been on my heart last few days, especially now that we are in a political season. This is the time when political parties put forward their candidates and they ask us, the voters, to vote for them. And our weapon of choice should be this. This is the only last resort. Anytime you feel a certain way, a particular way, in terms of the political climate and the way the country's run, this really is the only voice you have. Anything outside of this is an exercise in futility. Or as we say in Zambia, it is an exercise in futility. You can't beat that. I mean, you know, you can scale the walls all you want to, but you can't beat that. It's an exercise in futility if you don't use this. If you attempt in any way to use anything outside of this, you're wasting your time. So, it being an election season, lots of things happen. Let me take you back. Many years ago, uh, in America, there was a gang conflict between a group that called themselves the Bloods and a group that called themselves the Crips. Crips spelled C-R-I-P-S. Two factions, two gangs. This is over there in Los Angeles on what they called the West Coast. The Bloods and the Crips didn't get along. The Bloods wore red. And usually it was a red bandana. It wasn't red t-shirts or anything. But if you did wear red, you were considered a member of the Blood gang. But the best way to identify you was they would wear these red bandanas. So the Bloods would wear red, the Crips would wear blue, a shade of blue. And we used to hear many stories of how if you were a young man and you were wearing red, and unbeknownst to you, you wandered into the Crips territory ignorantly, even if you were not a member of the gang, even if you didn't affiliate with any gang, as long as you wore red or you had a red bandana, and by accident or by some unfortunate fluke, you wander into the territory of the Crips, they would kill you. I mean, no ifs, ands, buts about it. They would just put a bullet right through your head, and they would feel fully justified in doing that. The escalation, the tempo of violence on the West Coast was so palpable that the authorities had to step in. It was no longer one of those situations where the authorities said, well, that's just two gangs that don't get along and we've got nothing to do with it. No, this issue reached the White House. The powers that be had to sit down and see if they can come to some type of meeting of minds. They had to have a solution for this problem. And that is the first time I heard of the phrase black on black crime. That is the first time I heard it. Prior to this issue, I'd never heard of black on black crime. And what that, in very simple terms, what that means is black people were killing other black people. Why? Because it was a turf war. It was an issue of turf. This is my neighborhood. This is my area. You can't come here. I can't come to you. That created a palpable problem for the authorities. So everybody had to get involved, the church, civil society, the government. They had to bring these two gangs together and say, you know what? You guys are killing each other, but you're black. Here it is, you're black people, regardless of where you're from. But you as a black man, you're killing your fellow black man. Now, when I say turf, turf simply means area. Okay, when I say a turf war, what that means is a conflict that arises because one group feels like the other group is encroaching on their territory. It's a low-key Palestinian-Israeli conflict situation. Low-key. Here in Zambia, we have black on black crime. Zambia has its own version of black on black crime, but it has a political twist to it. You've got a group from the Greens and a group from the Reds, and these two factions, these two political parties, when they clash with an L, not an R, when they clash, clash. When they collide, boom, it's war. It's fighting, it's beating each other up. Now, let me tell you where we're going as a country in as far as political violence is concerned. Two things I want to say, and I'm going to sound controversial, but it's the truth. We are living now in a dispensation where the big talk is beating. You will hear that, let's say, for instance, a young group of people were beaten because they were wearing a particular color. It could be green, it could be red, it could be whoever. Okay? Here in town, the reality is, here in the CBD, the reality is if you wore a red anything that remotely hinted to a particular political party, there are guys on the street in this community, in the CBD, who will take it upon themselves to beat you to a pulp, to beat you within an inch of your life because of their political persuasion. And yet, really, if you were to sit down and ask them to articulate their political manifesto, they wouldn't be able to tell you. All they're concerned about is their turf. Anywhere you go in this country, it's about turf. It's about, this is our community. This is our area. Dare you wander into this area if you are a political affiliate from the opposition or from this, that, and the other. You will ignite conflict. Right now, we are talking about physical violence, beatings, maimings. But there's coming a time, if we do not contain this situation, in the same way that the American authorities, the White House had to sit down and bring all the stakeholders together and say, what is the solution? If we try and sweep this situation under the rug, it's not going to help anybody. If you try to ignore it and glance away, it's not just going to go away. That's not how it works. You can't just wish a problem away. You have to sit down, deal with it toe to toe, eyeball to eyeball. If our Zambian authorities, if the Zambian government, in collaboration with the stakeholders, the major political parties, the churches, the civil society, if they don't come together and address this issue head on, right now, we're talking about beatings, but there's coming a time when you will hear that so-and-so was shot dead. A group of young men were shot dead. A group of young men that belonged to a so-and-so political party were killed in a drive-by shooting. That's where we're going as a country if we don't nip it in the bud, if we don't deal with it head on. If we don't grab it by the horns. That's exactly where it's going. Now, add to that the element of illegal immigration. We all know, it's not a secret, there are elements of, we have a huge Congolese element in this country. Now, you must understand one thing about the Congolese. Congo is a different type of country. They have a level of lawlessness there that is almost indescribable. You must know this. Let me say that again because it has to sink in. Sometimes we have to deal with real politics. Sometimes you have to do away with tiptoeing through the tulips. Sometimes you have to put away this patty cake baker man mentality and be aggressive and truthful. The Congolese, the country, Congo or Zaire, former Zaire, they have a level of lawlessness that is indescribable. I mean, you just look at the police service in the Congo. The police service, they don't get a salary from the government. They create their own salary. That is how bereft of the law that country is. Now, you've got a situation where you have a huge influx of Congolese that are coming into this country and then associating themselves with political parties. And they bring that mentality of hostility and killing and maiming and disposing of life as if it's something inconsequential. When you mix those two together, when you have an influx of illegal Congolese that are coming into this country, Congolese that are accustomed to war, accustomed to conflict, people that will kill you at a glance, and you bring that type of person, incorporate them within our way of life, and you allow a situation where this group of illegal despots begins to grow, begins to mushroom, begins to become malignant, and you look away 30 years from now, we're going to be in a complete mess. So, immigration, you need to pull up your socks. You're sitting in your air-conditioned offices twiddling your thumbs, listening to Garth Brooks and Shenandoah on your radio instead of dealing with this growing problem. I said all of that to tether it, to tie it together. The violence that you're witnessing now between political parties is only going to get worse if we don't deal with it on two fronts. The first front is State House has to be involved, the government has to be involved, the churches, civil society. We have to deal with this inter-party violence that is confined now to your Chitavadi Muma. In the next few years, it'll be so-and-so was shot dead while walking down the street. A group of young people were shot dead for wearing certain colors. That's where we're going if we don't deal with this issue head on. That's number one. Secondly, on the immigration front, our immigration in this country is so inadequate. I mean, literally, they fumble, they walk all over themselves. They don't know what the hell they're doing over there. And I'm telling you, you hear all these cases, you see all these cases of illegal immigrants that are pouring into this country in containers, and they're coming in by the droves. By the droves. They're coming in with such a huge, massive, tsunami-like force that if we ignore it, we will pay the price for it very soon. And so, whenever these political parties are talking about politics, these are the things we want to hear them address. Immigration is a huge problem in this country. I have never heard one political leader talk about immigration, not one. All they ever talk about is this, that, and the other. They talk about everything and anything. Why? There's a growing problem in this country. The number of illegal immigrants that are in this country, and you think it's a joke? Is that what you think? You think it's a joke? The problem that's there right now in Palestine and Israel can be brought down to an immigration problem. Read between the lines, figure it out. Because I know some of you say, no, that's not an immigration. No, it is. You go back 100 years ago and you will see the problem where the problem began. And I know that's controversial, but that's what it is. So let's not let's not stick our heads in the clouds. Let's not tiptoe through the tulips. Let's not fiddle with our gadgets and pretend that everything's hunky-dory. It's not, in terms of immigration and the rising wave of violence that is going to engulf this nation if we're not careful. By nature, and I can say this because I'm a Zambian, we are not violent people. But it won't be like that forever. If we don't deal with the immigration problem, if we don't deal with those illegal immigrants that come here in this country with a war-torn mentality, people that will kill you for nothing. And they are among us. Among us. Be careful. Immigration, do your job. You people that are running for president, you that are running for member of parliament, it wouldn't kill you or hurt you every once in a while to talk about the immigration problem in this nation. It wouldn't hurt you. Yeah, you should say something. It's real. God bless. That's all I had time for. I can't take phone calls because I'm at work and I got to go to work. God bless.